Assalamu alaikum viewers. Today our group discussion will be on sports world. Our guest is Brigadier Hadi and my name is Ajmal Khan Yusufzai. We would put a very important questions on Brigadier Hadi about the world sports. Mr. Hadi, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
I hope you will deliver a very important, informative, and very, very interesting answer about this discussion.
Sure, ji. Ajmal bhai, you said we are talking about the sports world. Now, sports is a thing which is a very common thing. Everybody is exposed to it. Everybody is involved. But it's not the playing, it's the information that we are going to discuss about various sports, the history, historical perspective. If we are talking about the World Cups, when were they won, who won it, and when did they start? So this sort of, information we are going to concentrate on. Otherwise, sports world, everybody in general knows what sports are in. So I think to start with, we'll talk about some of the major sports, just a small rundown of the sports, if you allow me. We'll start, there are certain major games, major sports, and there are certain minor, although popular. So out of the major game, the first is, let's say, cricket. Now, I'm going to just talk about which are the dominant. You know that cricket is only being played by certain countries, maybe 8 to 10. Australia, New Zealand, England, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, West Indies, and some of the other minnow countries like Afghanistan, Switzerland, etc. Now, if we see the history of cricket, so far out of the World Cups, you can say Australia is the leaders. Why? Because they have won 5, World Cups. It's a very big distinction. Second is then, of course, India and West Indies. India has won 2, and West Indies have won 2. And of course, Pakistan and Sri Lanka each have won. And there's very amazing thing like New Zealand, which is a very big force in cricket. So far, they have not won any World Cup. And one more amazing thing is England, which is the nucleus of cricket, which is the center of cricket, where, everybody is interested in cricket. They reached the World Cup 3 times. But all the 3 times, they lost. So their score is 0-3. And if you remember, when Pakistan won, it again the opponents were England, and we beat England to win. So this is as far as the cricket is.
Brigadier Hadi,
Yeah.
this is very important subject matter which you have started. If you don't mind, so I will tell to the audience that we are giving this very important information about the global games from Washington, D.C. We are here from Washington, D.C. and Brigadier Hadi will give you the whole picture of the sports world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So next, a major game is obviously athletics. It has a very long history. And athletics, basically it has got 3 major portions. One is the tracks and second is the field. And track is again, the short distance games and the long distance, which, includes the marathon. Now, this is surprising that as far as marathon is concerned, it is most of the African countries, they have got probably the body structure is such that they are good in long distance runners. the 5,000, the 10,000, the marathon, 30, 25 mile, 32 mile. Even in some of the major cities, there are marathons, each individual big city. So it is normally the Africans who are dominating. As far as the track events are concerned, people know it's high jump, long jump, triple jump, etc., etc. But if we just take the main point in athletics, it is the 100 meters. The 100 meters and the 200 meters. It is one Mr. Usain Bolt.
And he's from
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah. You know that America, because of the strength, because of the concentration that they have on athletics, they are normally, they have got a lot of champions. But 100 meters and 200 meters, in both, it is Usain Bolt. Not only that he's a world champion, but he has got, his records are still standing. Like for 100 meters, he has done it in 9.58 seconds, which is amazing. And he's also the champion of the 200 meters.
What about Brigadier Hadi, rundown of major sports?
I'm taking all of this rundown one by one. So I've talked about cricket, about athletics. The next, the major sport could be tennis. Now, tennis is, some people say that it's only the game of the big people, of the lords, of the rich people. But it's a very important, there are certain special championships like Wimbledon, like Australian Open, like US Open. So far, I'll just sum it up by saying that the top player is Federer. Roger Federer, he is considered the biggest champion of tennis as far as men are concerned. And Serena Williams of America, she is considered the women. And if you ask these two guys, the Serena says that he is the best. And if you ask his opinion, he says Serena.
We are in USA, what I understand,
yeah,
that Serena Williams won this title a couple times.
Many times, yeah. And then, it's not only winning one championship, but there's a term known as the Grand Slam. So, these people have won more of these, all of these major tournaments, the Australian Open, the US Open, and also, the Wimbledon, which is the England tournament. Okay, moving further to the other game, that is hockey. Hockey is basically a field hockey and then the ice hockey. Ice hockey is, again, restricted to few countries because it can only be played in those countries where there is ice, like USA, Canada, some of the northern, European countries.
You mean cold countries?
Yeah, where there is snow, Yeah. Only there you can play it. Not as far as the field hockey is concerned, it has a tremendous, history. It's not a very old game, but their World Cup and Olympics, etc., they started in 1975. Now, here I must mention Pakistan and also India. Pakistan has won the first gold in 1978, and since then they have won 4. And India has won one of the World Cup. But currently, it is, shuttling between Germany and Australia. Either Germany is the champion or Australia, because these two have dominated. And ever since this turf has been introduced, Pakistan used to be good in grass, but ever since the turf has been introduced, it has become more technical and, so these European countries, they are, doing well.
Brigadier Hadi, just for anxiety,
Yeah.
that could you please mention some very important world level names of the hockey player of Pakistan? I remember you were talking about their...
There were many. Not currently, but those famous brothers, Samiullah, Matiullah, Manzoor Senior, Akhtar Rasool, and later on, Manzoor Junior also came. Dar, that, that was the time, that Pakistan
They were in the
had-
peak.
It was a peak, and at that peak time, those players, I think most of them have retired, and currently Pakistan is struggling at the global level. Pakistan as well as India is not doing that. They are restricted mostly, Asian cups, and at the world level, it's Germany and Australia who are dominating.
But Pakistan and India has proven themselves.
Yeah, of course. When the field hockey started, the initial, decade was belonging to these Pakistan and India. Especially to Pakistan,
Thank
who
you.
have won 4 gold medals. Coming to the next game, which is squash. Squash. Now, people do not know it well. There's a couple of reasons. One is that very few people, can see squash at a time. Like you imagine, NFL or football, you have 100,000 people in the ground. But squash has a limited, court. Only 2 people are playing, and the people, the spectators, they are very limited. But in spite of that, as far as in the world reputation is concerned, it is Pakistan. There was the famous Roshan Khan family. This was then taken over by our great Jahangir Khan. When he came, he was 17 years old, and that was 1981 when he won the first, gold in squash. And then a very strange, record he made. Unbelievable. He won 555 games non-stop, without a break.
Non-stop.
Imagine more than 500 games in a stretch, and he was just on the world scene. Everybody knew who's Jahangir Khan, and it was amazing. It was so difficult to beat him. And then he was, taken out by another champion.
And
Again
here's
from Pakistan.
before we go to the second one, Jahangir Khan won this title, I believe, a couple times, maybe.
Yeah, it's not one time. He won it, I think, 4, 5 times. I don't exactly remember, but it was more than once. But then came Jansher Khan. So he won the World Cup 8 times.
8 times.
8 times, which is,
Historical
amazing.
record.
Yeah, and he was unbeatable. Of course, there was the third person who was famous at that time was Jeff Hunt from England. There were a few other players also even from Egypt, But Pakistan has always been dominating the squash world.
Squash.
Right. From here we go to the NFL. Now, National Football League, it is only in America. NFL basically is an American game. I'll just mention 2 names. In NFL, there are certain positions.
I hate to interrupt you, Brigadier Hadi.
Yeah.
Before you go to the soccer game, I would like to.
It's not the soccer. I'm talking of the NFL.
The national
The National Football League, the football of
league.
America.
Oh, okay. You are talking about the organizations.
yeah.
Okay.
In a team, there are certain positions on which there are experts. Like the receivers, like the safety, like the defense, the attackers. Whenever you are attacking, a separate group comes, and when you are defending, a separate group comes. But the most important position is that of the quarterback, the one who gets the ball and who throws. You must have seen.
Right.
So in them, one is Drew Brees. Drew Brees, he made a record, in 2017, I believe, when he threw more than, I think 500, was a score of touchdowns. So that was a record. And the other person who's made a record is Brady. He's Tom Brady. He's from New England team, the Patriots. It is amazing that he has been involved in he's won 5 finals, 5 World Cups. And the one which was played in the first week of February, even that, he was the champion. Recently, just about 3 weeks back, So he's won Super Bowls, and he's a very phenomenal player. Okay, we leave it at this. We go to the next game, which is, the volleyball. Now, volleyball has, the normal volleyball. It has the desert, the sand. There are many, but it's not as popular as basketball. Now, basketball is again an American game, and there was one legend. There was one Mr. Chamberlain, and after that was the most famous person, Michael Jordan. Yeah, he belonged. And currently also, there are very special teams, Lakers, and Americans, they watch basketball in a very big number. They've got very special teams, and they are amazing. And they had once, made a team known as the Globetrotters. So they used to visit different countries and, do sort of magic and, create a show and all that. Okay, and the final major game that I would consider is golf. Although again, previously it was restricted to rich people, but now, there are a lot of high-class players. Now, out of the golf, I have myself been a golf player, not a single digit, but my handicap was 16. But because of playing myself, I know the rules. I know what is, hole in one or birdie or eagle or par and sandwich and the number of, sticks that you use in the woods. I have a good idea. Now, it was Jack Nicklaus. He had a special. They also have, the Masters, the US Open, the Australian Open, and there are, some local tournaments, like the PGA, the professional tours. So Jack Nicklaus, he had the distinction to win 18, majors. They call them major tournaments. He was a champion of 18 major tournaments. The second conspicuous person is Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, he won 14 majors. And Jack Nicklaus won 8. Tiger Woods won 6. Okay. Then the last year champion was, of course, Masters, Patrick Reed. Before that was Sergio Garcia. And golf also declares one man as the number one for a certain period of time. So currently it is Brooks Koepka from USA who is the number one. And you must be remembering that Tiger Woods was number one for many, many years. I think it was 7 or 8 years. So golf is a very interesting, a very nice game. And
it is the favorite game of US.
Yeah. No. It's many countries. US is, of course, dominant.
Right.
There are many players, but USA, England, they play Australia.
All European countries.
All over the world, yeah. So that was as far as the introduction of sports is concerned, the major events.
Now we will come to the most popular game, which is, I believe you have been the best player of soccer game, and you will shed some very detail about soccer.
Okay, soccer, I didn't touch it in the major games because I knew that we are going to talk about it separately. Soccer is, I would say, the most popular game in the world. Why? Because of the number of players, because of the number of facilities, because of the number of countries that are playing, the types of tournaments, the excitement. It is only for 90 minutes. It's not like cricket, you play for 5 days and at the end, say what happened is it's a draw. So in soccer, you just get the result straight away. Then it doesn't require any big, sort of a gear, like pads and bats and this. It's just a one game, one football you're playing. Even it is played in the streets, and most of these top class players, they have come up from the streets, So it's a very popular game. I'll start with just saying about, let's say, the World Cup, which countries are involved, who have won. So this World Cup, it started somewhere in, I think, this idea came, the soccer is old, but the World Cup started in 1930.
1930.
Yeah, and the country who won the first World Cup was your favorite team, Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Yeah, they later on also they won another cup, so they've got two. But in 1900, I think yes, it was 58, when a magic boy, a star, it rose, 17 years old star, his name was Pele. Excuse me. He came on the scene. He was a Brazilian and he played in 1958. Brazil won the 58 Cup. Then they also won the second one, which was in 1962, 4 years later. And since then till today, Brazil has won. They reached final 7 times, but they won 5 cups. And they lost only 2. The other fantastic team is that of Germany. Now, amazing that Germany has reached finals 8 times, but they have won it 4 times, and they've lost, they've been runners up 4 times. So similarly, Italy has won it 4 times, lost 4 times. Argentina, because of Maradona, they won 2 and lost 3. And there are Netherlands, Czechoslovakia, Hungary. I have mentioned these 3 nations, Netherlands, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary. Amazing thing that all combined, they reached the World Cup 7 times, but they lost all 7 times. So
At the end,
they were runners
they were
up.
on the peak.
They were runners up, They reached the final, but they couldn't win it. Similarly, England, back in 1966, I was going to the army. I remember that year they had a Bobby Charlton. He was there, a star player. So England team has always been good on paper, on record, and reputation. But unfortunately, in this whole history, they have won it only once. Similarly, Spain, which has got a lot of star players, but they have won it only once.
What we will say about France? What we will say about France?
Thank you for reminding me. France has won it twice, and France, they are the current champions,
Exactly.
This last year, they won, and I know some of their players like Pogba, their middleman, he is now playing from Manchester United. They have got Mbappe, the young star, who is a PSG player, and so France, they had a very famous player, Zinedine Zidane, when they won the first time. And that man, later on became the coach of Real Madrid. So France, of course, they are a fantastic...
But at the same time, Brigadier Hadi, you remind me about who is the top player in soccer.
Very good.
I maybe it's coming in my mind like Messi and Ronaldo.
100% correct. But I'll come to this, just remind me. They are the current players.
Right.
But if you go back in the history, the first top class player, who is even now considered the number 1, was Pele from Brazil. After that, there is always a discussion whether he was number 1 or was it Maradona from Argentina. Because of Maradona, they won, 2 World Cups. And he was another star. Then, There was a German team at one stage. They were phenomenal. I mean, they had some very great players like Matthias and Beckenbauer and Müller and Rummenigge. And I can take a lot of names, but when they were playing, they were unbeatable. It was and I've been to Germany, 5 years old, 10 years old. People are crazy for football. They are so much involved. Their stadiums are, filled. Bayern Munich is the top team there. And one of the top players was Beckenbauer. Why I call him the top? Because of two reasons. One was he won the World Cup as a player. And then he won the World Cup as a manager of the German team. This is very rare.
Keeping up this discussion about the soccer game, I have two important questions.
Okay.
One is related to,
Messi.
if you don't mind, it's about you.
About me?
Yes.
Okay.
Second, it is about Pakistan. What is the relation of Pakistan to the soccer game?
Very good question. But before I forget, you asked me about Messi and Ronaldo. They are the current, top players, and there's always a discussion that whether he is good or this chap is good. But I would go for Ronaldo because of the number of goals that he has scored.
Exactly.
He has scored over 550 goals in all championship, and he was a Manchester United player. Obviously, that is my team, so I used to like him. And even now, recently he's gone to Juventus, and even now he's scoring. Although Messi is also very good. And these two guys, they have been changing, to become the best players of the world, declared by FIFA. So about 4 times one and 4 times the other one. Currently, there's the player Modric. He is from Croatia, and he is the only centre half who has been declared the best player. So he is also, but he's been declared only once. So Ronaldo and Messi are they have equal status, but I'll go for Ronaldo because he's from my team.
But make sure you, Brigadier Hadi, don't miss my questions.
Your second question is, what is the relationship of soccer with Pakistan?
Yes.
Obviously, you know that I know what you are hinting at. It's not the players or the game. It is amazing that almost 70 to 80% soccer, footballs, which are made or which are used in the games, are made by Pakistan. We have a very big industry in Sialkot who produce, football.
Which is the city of Pakistan?
Yeah, Sialkot, border city. I've visited there personally. There are a lot of, factories, and they produce very high class, world class, footballs they produce, Sialkot. And that is, a big relationship. I was once in Uzbekistan. I had a Pakistani friend, he was a contractor. And he told me that I am providing 1,000 footballs per week to Uzbekistan.
From Pakistan.
And just imagine 1,000 per week. So that is one country. So imagine these countries who have got so many football, teams. So how many footballs they must be getting from Pakistan? And then, some of their games were for the World Cup. So it's a very big honor for Pakistan to produce such a high class. Okay, you asked about me. I have not been a very star player. In a very humble way, I'll just say that I've been associated with football. Before joining army, I used to play from a club, Osmania Club in Peshawar. When I joined the army, I played for a couple of years in the army team. I won a couple of brigade tournaments. Twice I won the divisional tournament. And my division and my 4 corps, which is the Lahore, my team was the champion in the army championship. And of course, I've been scoring a lot of goals. And while I was the army, I used to be booked and contacted, to play in the civil team. So that's all I would say.
It's a great performance.
But that was जब खलील खान फख्ता उड़ाया करते थे, when we were young.
No, but
If now you tell somebody that I used to do this, they would not believe seeing us.
it's a part of life.
Yeah. Okay. So there are certain youngsters, which are now coming on the scene of football. That is like Rashford and Martial. They play from Manchester United. Mbappe, I mentioned, he's from PSG. And by the way, PSG and Manchester United had a match 3 days back, and they beat them by 2 goals. PSG won in the Champions League, and Mbappe scored 1 goal. And then there are other players which are good, like we have Pogba from France. He's now the centre half of Manchester United. And there is a very star player, his name is Salah. He's from Egypt, but he's playing from Liverpool. He scored the maximum goals last year, and this year also he's scoring well. We have Dele Alli, Kane. Kane is, the English team centre forward. He was the top scorer last year. And if you ask me about the club, are you interested? Maybe people are interested to know. So the clubs, there are few clubs which are very popular: Barcelona, and Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid, Manchester United. But if you want to know about the top league in the world, I would say it is the English Premier League, although it's a Spanish league also. So in the English Premier League, Manchester United has a history. For 20 years, when Alex Ferguson was the manager, they have been winning. But now, he retired about 4 or 5 years back, and now it's other teams who are winning. Like Manchester City won last year. They are now one of the top. Liverpool it's between Liverpool and Manchester City as to who is going to win this year. The third is Tottenham. The fourth is now Manchester United. We have Chelsea also, then Arsenal. I'm sure you know the system, or should I, just for 2 minutes, I should talk as to how this Premier Leagues are organized. Is it okay if I...
Exactly, no problem.
Just for 2 minutes. Let's say we take English Premier League. There are 3 divisions. Division 1, 2, and 3. Each has got 20 teams. So what happens that every year they play against each other. If there are 20 teams, each team plays 38 games. 1 home and 1 away. And the last 3 teams, 18th, 19th, and 20th, they are relegated to the 2nd division. And the top 3 teams from the 2nd division, they are promoted to the 1st division. Similarly, from 3rd division, they are relegated, and then there are 3 teams which are promoted to the 2nd division. The most, I would say, not honorable, but the most distinguished or the most popular tournament is the Champions League, UEFA Champions League. Generally speaking, 4 teams, 3 to 4 teams from each country, the top teams, they come and they play then against each other under FIFA. And so there are 32 teams finally selected. They are made into 8 groups. These 4 teams play against each other, league system, round robin league, and then 2 are selected, and they call them the final 16. So the 16 then they start playing against each other. They become 8. From 8 they become 2. They go to semi-final 4, and then the final is played and every year. Now it is amazing that Real Madrid has been to this final 16 times, and out of 16 they have won 13 times. This is
amazing,
because they are the best Champions League team in the world. And Ronaldo was there for 7-8 years, and he's been scoring a lot of goals. He's scored about 121 goals.
Brigadier Hadi,
Yes, please.
unbelievable representation about this all multiple games of the world. I have a question related to this, especially to the soccer game, which is like, and soccer is related to the other businesses too. So, what is the main point of money in what they make?
Unbelievable.
Would you please?
I mean, it is. You can't call it a sports. It is an industry. It's a small mini world. The number of players involved, the spectators involved, the media, the projection on TV,
Parking.
and marketing, and each player when he is changing his club, generally a good player is 40 to 50 million. Would you believe that Pogba was purchased for $89 million by Manchester United? And another amazing news, there's a player, his name is Neymar. He is from Brazil, and last time when Brazil won, he was the captain. Neymar, he went to PSG. And can you imagine how much they paid for him? $220 million.
I forgot about the one of the most important related to soccer. Those are the managers of the soccer.
Yeah.
The names, I think they are very distinguished
Yeah.
managers.
There are some. There have been some great managers, like Jose Mourinho, Sarri now of Chelsea, Klopp, and Kante was from Chelsea. Klopp is, the Liverpool manager. But if you go back a little, so Beckenbauer, I mentioned to you, he was from Germany. He was a player, and after leaving that, he became, a manager. And he was such a popular man that he was declared one of the player of the century. There were 11 people selected, and Beckenbauer was also one of them. Then another German player who changed quite a few clubs, very famous guy. He used to score a lot of goals. His name was Klinsmann. And most of the Americans, they know him because he became the manager of the U.S. men's team. And he almost, took them to the last 16. The U.S. team did so well against all those, big teams that they almost, reached
Best performance.
yeah, and the best performance, and it was Klinsmann. So managers, they have many. Zinedine Zidane, who was once the French team player, he was the manager for Real Madrid for quite some time. There is also a news that he may come and take over because Manchester United currently has just a temporary manager, after Jose was sacked. So there are a lot of them, and I can't really compare.
I think if we talk about soccer, it will take hours and hours.
Yeah.
As far as your informations and your knowledge is concerned.
Yeah.
But I would like to wind up this soccer game, but I will request you about those small games which is played in South Asia here and there, which is very popular in that specific local areas.
Absolutely.
That will be nice.
Absolutely. Even if they are not popular, I mean, there are many small games which are played in the world, like, wrestling. Wrestling currently here, there's a series going on, UFC, and they've got great champions, John Jones is one of them. And then there's boxing. Boxing, who doesn't know boxing? It may look, but you imagine the number of people who see the boxing when it was the time of Muhammad Ali Clay and Joe Frazier's, So, although currently we don't have very high class stars like that time, but boxing is a very popular game. There is lacrosse, small game. There's rugby. There's horse racing, and you know,
Which is very popular in
yeah,
US.
yeah, fencing, swimming is normally taken part of athletics, but you know, swimming is an independent game, and there are people they are doing.
Is a major part of athletics.
Yeah, it is a part of the World Cup, and you know, it is one of the very popular sports, wrestling. And now, currently, you know, the winter games, you have all those, you know, technical things, you know, the skating and skiing and the dancing and the arena skiing and all that. So these are few other games. There are other small games in our time. When we were young, you know, the most popular game was kabaddi, and I think you must be remembering gulli danda,
Exactly.
which was played by the young people. So currently there are hundreds and hundreds of types of other sports even, and they have been introduced in the world, and but it is one of the major, you know, pastime of the people. A lot of people, whether even women, you know, they are seeing.
Finally, I will ask you a question, Brigadier Hadi, about these all athletics. And you have a very correct and concrete idea about the people who see and watch this game. I think soccer has many.
Of course, yeah, as I told you, it is one of the most popular game because of, if you total the audience, and you know, these fans, what we call audience, fans are those who are there and those who are watching at the TV. They are very loyal people. Like, for example, Redskins, when I came to America, Redskins was winning. So I became a Redskin fan. Now it's almost, unfortunately, 12 to 14 years that they are not winning. But my team is Redskins, you know. So similarly, each team has got a certain number of fans who are following them. And the whole world is, you go to even a second division game, you go to a team which is, let's say, 19th and about to be relegated to the second division, the ground is full because they have got dedicated fans. And everybody is interested in his team, and they go and it's also a great fun, you know. Here, you go and see the Redskin game, the game will start at, let's say, 5 o'clock. You will find people in the ground, in the parking lot at 5 o'clock. They've got barbecues and they're playing and they've got families, and you know, it's a great fun day. Besides, you know, watching the actual game, people, you know, enjoy, you know, there's food, there's drinking, and you know, all that. Small kids are playing, and
Actually,
yeah.
What the audience heard you, and I'm as an anchor talking to you as a host about these very multiple games of the world. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah.
And the same audience will not only enjoy it, they will have a lot of knowledge about this all games. Thank you very much, Brigadier Hadi. As usual, we will be looking forward to hear you about very, very important topic. We will discuss it, and the people will take the full advantage of that. Thank you so much, and
Thanks.
looking forward again.
Thank you
to
very
see
much.
you.
Thank you very much.